Welcome back. We're diving headfirst into what could be a make or break moment for Tesla stock and potentially the entire Magnificent Seven. The curtain rises after the bell, and what's revealed could trigger a seismic shift across the markets. This is not just about the Q3 numbers. We're expecting record-breaking deliveries, surging energy revenues, and a surprise recall bombshell hitting the Model 3 and Model Y. One miss, or one Musk mic drop, could send the stock flying or crashing. So without further ado, let's start the analysis. Let's start with the knowns. Tesla already pre-announced a record-breaking quarter with 497,000 deliveries. This is historically a massive win, but not this time. Investors are looking right past the record, viewing it as a pull-forward effect, because a massive volume was largely driven by a stampede of customers rushing to claim the expiring $7,500 US federal EV tax credit. The problem is that the market sees Q3's green light coming at the expense of Q4's demand, creating massive anxiety about 2026 guidance. As well, adding to the technical stress, Tesla is issuing a recall on up to 12,000 Model 3 and Model Y vehicles for a battery pack contractor issue that could cause a loss of drive power. This regulatory headache is the last thing the company needs hours before earnings. Now, looking at the margins and the profitability crisis is one of the segments that you need to look out for when the numbers drop at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The entire day rides on the profit margins. Analysts are bracing for a massive decline, with adjusted EPS expected to be as low as 41 cents per share, a sharp drop from last year's performance. The automotive gross margins is expected to be as low as 15.6% to 17.2%. Now, the key question is, can Tesla's relentless manufacturing efficiency and cost-saving measures, especially from the newer, cheaper standard Model 3Y, offset the pain from their aggressive price cuts, which a margin figure below 15.6% will be heavily punished by the markets. Now, since the numbers are expected to be weak, the Q&A at 5:30 becomes a real show. This is where Elon Musk, the CEO, has to earn Tesla's multi-trillion-dollar valuation. Now, the bull case is entirely dependent on the AI narrative. Investors need concrete updates on the cybercab with the Robotaxi and its production timeline. No more concepts, they need actual commitment. Now, Musk has previously been confident about achieving unsupervised full self-driving by the end of the year. Any delay or wavering on that ambitious timeline will shatter the AI hype and send the stock tumbling. As well, Tesla is the first of the Mag 7 to report, setting the market tone for Optimus, and any positive news on this robot, or FSD, will send the entire AI and tech sector soaring with it. Today is not just about the quarterly report, it's a credibility test for the entire Tesla growth story heading into 2026. So with such hype, let's look at the stock and how it's been performing and where it has the potential to go. The stock is, up 12% year to date, which is not bad. We're still seeing outperforming market returns on the average of 10% here, which is pretty much the SPY. And we can see that obviously there's our technicals that are saying that's a buy, and with analyst ratings being kind of neutral on the stock, and seeing that 1 year price target is down around 15% from the current highs at around a price of $369 here. But what I really want to reiterate here is, where can the stock go on earnings? As we know, earnings can be a very volatile time for stocks, especially at all-time highs. Well, something that I really want to show here is that obviously we are doing quite well, right? We are seeing, a nice uptrend ever since the April lows. We are now approaching the all-time highs here of 480. But I want to reiterate here that we are now seeing that the RSI here, for example, on the bottom, is starting to, it was declining, right? Declining quite heavily, and now we're kind of consolidating, especially at this high around here, right? We're seeing some resistance around these zones, and I do believe that the stock could find areas of support if it decides to sell off, right? So if it decides to sell off, I believe it's a great buying opportunity for investors that have missed this entire move beginning from here, from the April lows, have missed this move. So I believe that the stock, based on confluence levels and Fibonacci zones, can find support at this current level here if it decides to pull back towards the level of around $411.81, because that is a prior area of intense support. Because if we look here, there was a lot of candles, lower wicks here, that showed all buyer interest around this zone. And especially when we had this nice dip down, this is where we found the bounce. And that's where, we got above, certain areas of resistance. Now, my second level is going to be this support too, which is around $384, because it's forming confluence with a Fibonacci level, which is this green line that you're seeing on the chart, as well as around this anchored VWAP from the extensive leg up, the beginning of the move. So when we pulled back and the initiation of the upside, which was around the August of 2025, more particularly August 4th here. And as we're finding, current areas of demand where I believe, buyers are going to take advantage. And I believe is, if you're interested in buying this name, you know, be looking out for this important area here, this important zone, and very strong confidence level. Now, another level that I see that the stock could potentially go towards is this level here, support 3, which would be $350. Obviously, I'm not saying that with the earnings call we're going to be dropping all the way there. I'm gonna see we're not gonna be dropping 19%. Obviously, I do not believe that, but if we do have some negative sentiment, the stock decides to sell off, and we break this area first, we break this level of support here, we break this, and we break this, then that would be the next level, which would be here. And obviously it would be towards like the quarter. We would see over the next, trailing, 3 months, we would see something like this as where I'd be finding, I believe there'd be some support and see like some type of bounce. But hopefully the stock doesn't miss too heavily and we don't decline that much because it would be underperforming the market, especially and putting a lot of negative sentiment on the Magnificent Seven, which is something that we don't want here on the stock, right? So now talking about the potential upside here on Tesla. So let's take this off here and make it more clearly for you guys. I do believe still that I have my upgrade on the stock towards the levels that I believe are going to be achieved towards $654, which is going to be my first price target, which is right here. This, gives obviously, based on the technicals, does have the potential to go there. It all depends, obviously, on the macroeconomic sentiment and the news, but this is still, from the current price that we are, a 50% increase, which is not bad. And then I do have my second price target towards $919 here on Tesla, which, is obviously way more than 50%, almost a full 100% return here on this name. But there is a lot of hype, but there is at the same time a lot of overhead and nervousness from investors. We need to see this news from AI and especially Optimus and especially the overall Robotaxi fleet, right? We've seen Waymo expanding out to London and seeing, more and more rides weekly. And, it's doing it without any supervision, right? It's totally automated. Compared to Tesla, we still need to have a test, someone that's on the passenger seat looking at what the overall car does. So I believe that Tesla has a potential if it does clear these areas of resistance, like I said. And on the earnings call, on the post-market, watch for these levels of support 1, 410, support 2, 380 around there. And yeah, watch out for these levels or even the 50 MA, 401. So very important psychological zones that you can buy this name for a discount. What Tesla reveals today won't just move the stock tomorrow, it will shape the entire growth narrative heading into 2026 and beyond. The true question is, can Tesla defend its margins and deliver on the AI future that its valuation demands, or are we staring down at the start of a long-awaited reckoning? Drop your prediction in the comment section, whether you're bullish or you're bracing for the impact. And if you want real-time reaction and more content like this, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss a beat. Thanks for watching, and remember, don't let the markets wipe you guys out. I'll see you guys on the next one.